Welcome to the debate. Today we're diving into a really critical aspect of trade show success, exhibition display design. The source material we're looking at lays out a pretty irrefutable case for strategic design, citing studies that show over 80% of attendees remember personalized displays long after the event is over. I mean, that statistic alone proves that generic signs and, stock displays just aren't going to cut it anymore if you want long-term brand equity.
That 80% figure is, you're right, it's a strategic imperative driving this whole industry. But the material also brings up a crucial tension that I think we have to explore. While we both agree that highly personalized booth design is essential for that lasting recognition, the text is also very careful to note that effective personalization doesn't, and maybe shouldn't, require astronomical budgets. And that suggests that the strategic application, often using modular elements, is really the key.
Precisely. And the core disagreement, I think, emerges right there. So the central question for us today is this: does the need to maximize brand impact and audience recall, does it inherently require a full commitment to fully personalized booth designs? The kind that are custom fabricated to redefine the entire space? Or can exhibitors get comparable, lasting results by strategically optimizing modular and standard booth frameworks?
And I'm coming at this from a slightly different angle. I'm going to argue that leveraging modular structures, integrating advanced technology, and using flexible configurations within those established booth types, that actually offers the most efficient and frankly sufficient path to high engagement, all without the huge financial and logistical weight of full custom builds.
And I'll maintain that a truly comprehensive, personalized booth design, one that transforms a static space into a unique, three-dimensional brand narrative, is the non-negotiable strategic investment you have to make to stand out. That level of controlled sensory experience is what translates directly into that deep, long-term 80% recall.
That's a powerful stance, especially when you frame it as a brand narrative.
What my position is that personalization has to be seen as a comprehensive architectural and marketing approach. It goes so far beyond just swapping out a few graphics. It means transforming a standard space, whether it's an inline or a peninsula booth, into a unique, almost sculpted brand identity. This kind of personalized design, it carefully integrates a company's visual identity, its messaging, its strategic objectives into one cohesive spatial experience. It focuses not just on visual aesthetics, but on controlling the audience's whole sensory journey, from color psychology to tactile materials and, critically, spatial flow. We are, in essence, turning a standard plot of carpet into a physical embodiment of a brand's value proposition. This holistic design, it's just essential for evoking those key emotional connections and securing that high recall, because the design itself acts as the primary narrative landscape. A generic frame simply can't deliver that.
I'm sorry, I just don't buy that the emotional connection that drives recall is entirely contingent on, complex, unique physical fabrication. The source material itself identifies the core mistakes so many organizations make. They equate personalization with massive spending. And to me, that says the real power isn't in the unique shell, but in the strategic application of personalized content and interaction points. We can achieve this with immense practicality and scalability by focusing our resources on reusable, modular systems, things like high-quality aluminum truss or advanced tension fabric frames, and then integrating targeted elements. I'm talking custom graphics for current campaigns, sophisticated interactive tech zones. The strategic investment should be targeted at those high-impact, reusable, interactive features and segmented digital content.
Why sink all that capital into custom millwork and, non-standard shapes that might actually restrict you in the future when the real engagement is happening digitally and experientially?
I see why you're emphasizing efficiency, but let's define strategic investment in terms of brand differentiation. If the goal is to command attention and communicate brand values in, seconds, then we have to invest in that comprehensive design development, conceptual renderings, 3D mapping, and custom fabrication. Generic modular templates, no matter how technologically clever you make them, they suffer from a fundamental visual sameness. When I say custom fabrication, I mean using novel materials, curved glass, custom metals, unique finishes that let a brand create a completely unique aesthetic signature. The investment here is in overcoming the standardized limitations of the exhibition floor. The structure is the competitive differentiator.
But that model completely ignores the total cost of ownership, or TCO. You're front-loading the entire budget into non-reusable assets. Highly customized structures require enormous investment in the initial design and engineering, like you said, but then they introduce these colossal recurring costs. You have highly specialized labor for assembly, dedicated and often expensive warehousing for all these oddly shaped pieces, and astronomical shipping costs because the assets aren't flat-packed. Modular elements, which the source material itself notes provide flexibility and scalability, let us invest strategically in the reusable framework and then just adapt the skin, the graphics, and the tech as needed. Minimizing that logistical overhead frees up significant capital to directly fund sophisticated content and technology, which frankly are a lot faster to deploy and update than changing custom-built physical walls.
That's a compelling point on logistics, I'll grant you, but I have to challenge the utility of those savings. If your cost efficiency means you deploy a structure that at the end of the day resembles every other modular build at the show, you sacrifice the immediate, visceral impact needed to capture that 80% of attention. We're talking about brand perception. Custom materials convey a sense of quality, of permanence, a specific brand status that standardized aluminum extrusions, however well dressed they are with fabric, just cannot. Furthermore, custom designs, especially in big island booths, often allow for complex, load-bearing elements like massive hanging signs or even multi-story structures that are logistically impossible or just cost-prohibitive to do safely with standard modular kits.
I find that whole premise fundamentally flawed. The idea that modularity equals visual uniformity is it's outdated. Modern modular systems, especially the high-end ones, are designed specifically to overcome those old aesthetic limits. They can be curved, they can accept custom texture printing, they can integrate lighting seamlessly, and crucially, the focus on efficiency provides a measurable ROI advantage. We can deploy one high-impact modular system across 10 trade shows globally for the TCO of one highly customized booth. That ensures a consistent brand presence across all markets. Your custom fabrication asset is geographically fixed, it's temporally constrained, and that reduces its overall strategic value compared to a scalable, reusable system.
All right, let's shift the focus to engagement then. My argument is that the physical design is paramount because it dictates the spatial flow. It anticipates attendee behavior, which is the key psychological trigger here. A personalized, custom design creates these natural, sometimes even mandatory pathways that guide visitors through a carefully orchestrated narrative. For example, a custom peninsula or island booth uses specific height variations, visual massing, to command the floor and enable that 360-degree engagement. We use techniques like color psychology in specific zones, deep blues for consultation areas to build trust, bright reds for dynamic product demos. That requires material customization and lighting controls that are integral to the structure, not just overlaid onto some generic frame. The environment has to invite and then direct the exploration.
That's an interesting point about spatial direction, but isn't engagement ultimately driven by specific interactive mechanisms that convert that passive interest into active participation? The structure might invite them in, I'll give you that, but the content is what secures the recall. Our budget, therefore, should prioritize the most successful strategies that are listed in the material. Robust technology integration, advanced AR demos, private 4K touchscreens tailored to specific verticals, and hands-on product experiences. These key elements are what drive the data points you need for post-show follow-up, and they can be integrated successfully and efficiently into standard configurations, like a corner booth, which already maximizes your visibility from 2 aisles.
The psychological principles of engagement, curiosity, perceived value, are met by the relevance of the technology and the customized content it delivers, not necessarily by the bespoke material of the shell that's housing it.
I think you're underestimating the sheer power of ambient environmental cues. When you enter a fully customized space, the immediate impression of high production value translates directly into perceived brand quality. That's a non-digital psychological principle. Moreover, the bespoke shell allows for precise control over things like acoustics and light. Think about a product launch that needs low, controlled lighting or a complex AV presentation. You can't achieve that level of environmental fidelity. The absence of all that convention hall noise, the precise focus of a projection with a standard modular frame that is structurally open and acoustically porous. The immersive experience has to be built into the walls and the ceiling itself.
I'd counter that those features you mentioned, acoustic and visual control, are really edge cases. They're often only necessary for very specialized demonstrations. For 80% of trade show goals, lead generation and brand awareness, flexibility is far more valuable than fixed architectural control. Instead of building massive, thick, custom walls for soundproofing, we should invest in high-quality acoustic curtains and modular paneling designed for sound absorption, which are infinitely more portable and scalable. And furthermore, we can allocate the budget saved on fabrication toward premium visual tech, like large-scale, high-res LED walls that are often more commanding than a stationary custom sculpture. And crucially, they are reusable across all future events. We're substituting static structural impact for dynamic digital impact.
I'm not convinced we can separate the structure from the message delivery. The structural design fundamentally enables or restricts the targeted messaging we both agree is necessary. The chief advantage of a full personalized booth design is the ability to create customized physical content zones, personalized storytelling areas that align with specific audience segments, say a separate luxurious VIP consultation lounge for executive buyers, distinctly separated from the main product demo area for technical users. This requires a non-standard, secure setup to really segment the physical space effectively. Standard modular booths, they often force a compromise toward a one-size-fits-all message because the constraints of the frame prevent true physical segmentation and privacy.
Versus what's content segmented. Personalization through segmented content zones that address specific audience personas. That's primarily a digital content strategy enabled by technology. Why dedicate a massive budget to complex, fixed physical fabrication when modular components and flexible space configurations are explicitly mentioned in the material as supporting multiple engagement styles? You don't need fixed walls to segment the audience. Just think about how much faster and more cost-effectively you can segment your audience using technology. We can deploy several interactive kiosks within a standard 20 by 20 modular island booth. Each kiosk runs content specifically tailored to different demographics. Procurement versus engineering, for example, using custom graphics and touchscreen interaction to guide their unique narrative journey. This is a far more dynamic and scalable communication platform than relying on static, custom fabricated walls to define who goes where.
The distinction, though, is the quality of the interaction that the physical space affords. While technology is essential for delivering content, it is the structure that defines the quality of the relationship. You cannot conduct sensitive negotiations or detailed proprietary product demos effectively in an open or even semi-open modular space. The custom design allows us to build private, climate-controlled, sound-dampened meeting rooms, essentially small temporary offices, that signal respect and commitment to a high-value buyer. That tangible investment in their comfort and privacy enhances the lead quality in a way that just placing a screen in a corner cannot achieve.
I agree that the highest value interactions require privacy, but this is where smart optimization triumphs over engineering. Instead of dedicating $50,000 to bespoke, non-reusable walls for one meeting room, the approach I'm suggesting would leverage temporary, high-quality, prefabricated meeting pods. You can rent them or purchase them as independent modular units and integrate them into any standard truss system. You get the privacy and acoustic control without sacrificing the core structure's reusability. We're achieving the strategic goal using targeted, specialized modular components rather than committing to full custom fabrication for the entire build. This gives brands the agility to transform their exhibition spaces into dynamic platforms without being tied down by complex, restrictive assets.
Ultimately, we've explored two fundamental paths to achieving that crucial 80% attendee recall. The modular approach, it certainly offers compelling logistical efficiency and scalability. But I maintain that only a full commitment to personalized architectural design ensures the creation of that truly unique, high-fidelity sculpted brand identity. The commitment to custom fabrication maximizes the cognitive and emotional resonance required for that highest level of brand recall because the entire physical environment signals a quality and a uniqueness that overcomes the visual clutter of the convention hall.
And I'll reiterate the source finding that personalization does not need to require astronomical expenditures. The smart, strategic approach focuses resources on maximizing high-impact, reusable assets, cutting-edge interactive technology, and clear, segmented messaging within scalable, modular frameworks. This achieves meaningful engagement and strong lead quality while retaining the necessary budget flexibility and long-term TCO advantages. Why mandate complex static architectural intervention when the drivers of modern engagement are digital and adaptive?
I think we both fundamentally confirm that booth design is a crucial strategic communication mechanism. It moves far beyond just static display and passive observation.
Absolutely. We agree on the need for strategic planning to create intuitive layouts and immersive storytelling that connects with specific audience personas. The disagreement really just lies in whether that strategic goal demands a bespoke architectural foundation, or if we can achieve it by maximizing the adaptability and technological capacity of sophisticated modular components.
Indeed, the listener has to weigh that strategic trade-off. The comprehensive, unique aesthetic narrative provided by full physical personalization against the logistical efficiency and technological agility offered by maximizing high-impact modular elements within existing structural types. There is certainly much more to explore in this material as designers continue to innovate in both realms.